Okay, good afternoon, good evening for everyone. If you are online, that today we have a nice audience that you will discover later with the questions. Hopefully, will be many questions. But also, if you are watching the recording, you are also welcome to our ninth. It's quite difficult to me to pronounce this number, the number 9 webinar in our ESCOM webinars. In this first series of webinars. And today we have a quite different topic. It's not a topic related with the parameters as most of our previous webinars. Today we're gonna speak about a methodology that we can use not just for citizen science, for many different things, but that we want to introduce in ESCO. And why we want to introduce this methodology that is called gamification is because we would like that we continue being involved and be engaged here in our citizen science initiative, in which we don't want just to collect data. We want to go further, a lot further with our citizen science, and is that we becoming real experts in the different parameters that we are collecting. And the idea is that in some time, it depends of everyone. We will be able not just to collect the data, also collect the data, analyze this data, and this is why we have AI, and this is some news that I will give you maybe in I don't know, the next webinar, but before December, I think we will have a webinar related with AI, because AI will help us to analyze the data that we are collecting. But also the plan is that we will be able to interpret this data, this analysis, and make better decisions. And when we speak about make decisions, are our daily decisions. This is why we are not volunteers. We are citizen scientists. It means that we, as the scientists, the academic scholar scientists, we know how to collect the data, how to analyze the data, interpret the data, but even better, we can use this data in our daily life. Just for giving you an example. Now we are, every day we are collecting our observation with Cockroach, with the rain gauge. And this month, August, have been a very, very dry month. What is the idea? That if we know how to analyze this data, we can also be better prepared. So next year to have our wells with more water, or maybe we say, okay, this is the pattern that we have, so maybe it will be nice if we start preparing ourselves to make a better decision related with our water repositories, or could be the same with the wind, that now we are starting the hurricane season. So this is the idea. But to do that, we need to stay here for a long term, not just for 2 or 3 months. We need to stay here for long term. But it could be, that at the beginning it's nice to start being citizen scientists, but after 2 months it's still nice, but it's almost the same. And in 6 months we say it's always the same. So we need to change. I will love that all of us, we have the persistence that Leon has. I always like to highlight Leon because he was on the news, because he had been during 40 years collecting observations of the weather. I think, Leon, you are an inspiration for us, because the idea, this is the plan, that we can be, as that we can be persistent during 40 years collecting data. This is great. But collecting the data, now we can analyze the data. But for doing that, we need some support. And this is where gamification enters in this place. We won a grant that's supported by Dalhousie, by the university, to introduce gamification and AI in our citizen science network. I think it will be one of the first citizen science initiatives on the world that include gamification. I don't think we are the first, but we will be one of the first one. But gamification and AI together, I think we're starting to lead, globally, what we are doing with citizen science. And we are part. You are part, but I'm also a citizen scientist. So we are creating this history. But to do that, we need to know why this is useful. So I want to invite Now, our guest speaker for today is the PhD assistant professor in the Faculty of Computer Science in Dalhousie University, Oladapo Oyerbide. So, Oladapo, welcome and thanks for staying here with us.
Yeah, thank you, Dr. Camilo, and hi everyone. I'm very happy to be here, and of course, many thanks to Dr. Camilo for inviting me to speak at this webinar. So my name is Oladapo. You can call me Hola. I'm an assistant professor in the Faculty of Computer Science, Dalhousie University. I am also a co-director of the Persuasive Computing Lab at the university. So in our lab, we design, develop, and evaluate AI-driven, adaptive, and hyper-personalized technologies, including mobile, web, augmented reality, virtual reality applications, and games for social good, which cut across diverse domains, including health and wellness, as well as environmental sustainability. So today's webinar is entitled Gamification as a Persuasive Strategy for Promoting Community Engagement. So let's get started. So in this webinar, we will look at why community engagement needs gamification, and then discuss the core gamification mechanics and the psychology underlying them. We will also talk about the key considerations when designing gamified citizen science applications. We will also look at 2 case studies showcasing how gamification is employed in real-world citizen science applications. Finally, we will discuss how to turn beach monitoring into a movement. So let's begin. Okay, so citizen science projects like the ESCOM's coastal monitoring project often start strong, but face dwindling participation over time. So you have probably heard of words or appeals like, oh, do it for science or help the environment. So these appeals are noble, but they may not be enough to sustain widespread engagement. So what is the solution? We definitely need a new strategy to attract and retain participants. And that is where gamification comes in. So what is gamification? It means turning our project activities into a game-like experience. So gamification is about applying game elements. You can think of points, think of badges, think of leaderboards, challenges, levels, and so on, even narrative stories. So applying these game elements into non-game context. So this is not about making a frivolous video game, but it's about adding fun and motivational features to meaningful work. So for example, instead of asking people to monitor beaches, you create a system where they can earn points for each observation. So you are not just asking them to monitor beaches or go collect data on the beach or on the coast or on the shoreline, but you are creating a system where they can earn points for each observation, unlock badges for milestones, climb a leaderboard, or work with others on challenges. So research in the areas of persuasive technology and human-computer interaction have found gamification to be a powerful tool to change behaviors. So it is essentially a persuasive strategy where we nudge and motivate people by appealing to their innate desires for reward, competition,
Sorry,
collection. Yeah.
You stop sharing.
Wow, that's strange. So let me share again. Okay, is it visible now?
Yes.
Okay, great. All right. So let me reiterate the last statement that I was making. So gamification is a persuasive strategy. And what that means is that we nudge and motivate people by appealing to their innate desires for reward, competition, and social connection. So that is why gamification is really powerful. So what is this theory behind why gamification drives motivation and engagement? So there is this theory called self-determination theory, and it's postulated by Ryan and Deci. So the theory posits that there are two main types of motivation. The first is intrinsic motivation, and that has to do with doing something because it is inherently interesting or enjoyable. And gamification can definitely help to amplify fun and arouse interest. So you can easily see that, yes, you are intrinsically motivated by doing what you do as a citizen scientist, but gamification can help amplify the fun and also arouse the interest and curiosity in the work that you do. So the second type,
again.
Yeah, is this about Google Meet? Because this is
I don't think so, but
yeah, let me share again. Yeah, I don't know why it's going off. Okay, so let's hope it stays this time. Okay. So the second type is called intrinsic motivation, which involves doing something because it leads to a separable outcome. And what that means is that you are asking, okay, what value or benefit can I get from doing what I'm doing, right? So which is different from intrinsic motivation, where you do something because it is inherently interesting or enjoyable to you. So when it comes to intrinsic motivation, you are talking about external rewards. So like points, badges, and leaderboards, or any other kind of rewards that could make you to sense that, oh, I think there are benefits to what I'm doing, and maybe there's a long-term value that I can derive from doing this. So recognition, achievement, and social interaction or collaboration are definitely important for sustained engagement in citizen science, as research has shown. All right. So another postulation of this theory is that there are basic psychological needs that humans, that are common to humans. So these psychological needs are three in number. So the first is the competence need. So, and this is about the need to build our competence as humans and develop mastery over important tasks. So you can imagine if you have a way of making people progress through levels, maybe from beginner level to expertise level, and they award badges as they progress. So that will give volunteers or citizen scientists a sense of mastery over time. Then the second need is the autonomy need. So, and this is about the need to feel in control of one's own behavior. Everyone wants to feel in control of their own behaviors. So bringing in gamification now, we can offer, citizen scientists or volunteers different ways to engage. So it could be allowing them to compete on a leaderboard or completing a task for every badge or collaborating on team challenges and so on. So the third need is called relatedness, and that is the social aspect. So it's about the need of having a sense of belonging and connectedness with others. We are social beings. So allowing everyone to kind of collaborate or work together on tasks will definitely help motivate and support long-term engagement. So gamification, definitely in terms of maybe allowing people to compare scores, work together on tasks, or share and show off their achievements, and so on, could definitely help sustain citizen science. So let's talk about the core gamification mechanics. So the first is points. So points help to quantify contributions. So basically, you have instant reward for each action that you perform as a citizen scientist. Then the second mechanics is badges. So you kind of have this collectible achievements that you can showcase, for every milestone or task that you are able to complete. We will talk more about all this later on. So the third mechanic is called leaderboard. So that's about ranking people to kind of encourage friendly competition and comparison. So when you see where you are on the leaderboard, it will kind of motivate you to want to climb higher. So the fourth mechanic is the challenges or quests. So these are time-bound or goal-bound missions that people perform, either socially or individually. So the fifth mechanic is the levels of progression. So basically, these are long-term growth indicators. So people can transition or move from being beginners, novice, into expert level. Then the sixth mechanic is the self-monitoring and feedback. So basically, we are talking about providing real-time response to people. So maybe via progress bars or notifications, or showing them the impact of their contributions. Then the seventh mechanic is social interaction. So let's talk about each of these mechanics. Okay, so let's talk about points, and then we'll talk about leaderboard thereafter. So points provide a quantitative measure of one's contribution. So for example, each water sample or beach observation that are logged could lead to earning points. So over time, these points can accumulate into an overall contribution. So basically, you'll be able to see that your effort is not going unnoticed. Your effort is appreciated, and also the quality of the data that you are providing, right? Is also measured, kind of. So, for example, if you bring in data of higher quality, your points will be higher than someone who maybe brings in data that is not of good quality. So you can definitely use points to kind of separate maybe data quality, and then who gets what based on what the quality of the data that they provide is. And also, you could maybe use points to target incentives. Like, for example, maybe you have some important tasks that you assign to people and you want to reward maybe completion of those tasks. So maybe those can earn higher points than other tasks, which are maybe less important. So points will definitely let you vary like contributions, and then people are rewarded accordingly based on their contributions individually and also overall. So leaderboard will help you rank contributors. So basically, you can see top contributors, maybe top 10 contributors, for example, or top 20. You can rank them that way. And then you can provide daily, weekly, or overall. And leaderboard will help to foster friendly competition. So people will strive to climb up. And of course, you can also compare yourself with others. So where you are on the leaderboard will kind of motivate you. Let's say if you are seeing that your friend is somewhere maybe above you, you could maybe look at, oh, well, my score is not too far off, so I can easily do additional tasks to kind of surpass, my friend on the leaderboard. Like it helps to kind of bring about this kind of motivation. And then leaderboard can be individual or team-based. So you could have leaderboards for individual tasks or team-based tasks.
Olaf, it stopped presenting again.
Okay,
so this is
yeah.
Part of my task is to monitor the.
Yeah, this is strange. So let me share again. There we go. Okay. Is it coming up now? Oh, yeah. Awesome. Okay. So let's talk about badges. So badges are visual stamps of accomplishment. I mean, we all love badges in some shape or form, even in the real world. So, earning badges for every accomplishment. So every data that you collect, every citizen scientist that you help mentor, or working with other people to kind of solve some maybe climate related issues and so on and so forth. Like all these accomplishments backed up with badges will definitely drive motivation and engagement.
Stop sharing again.
Oh, okay.
I don't know what's happening. But
I don't know. Yeah, this is strange.
Today we have a bug there. That is. There is again.
Okay. All right. So, yeah, we could have badges, let's say, to reward specific behaviors, data verifier, as you can see, a sample badge there, or it could be, beach cleanup hero badge, and so on. Yeah, and badges like this could appeal to those that like collecting stuff, right? Wow, I want to collect all the available badges. So they work at it. And yes, they will collect these badges and they'll be able to showcase these badges to their friends, to others to kind of motivate them. Yeah, so you can design badges for milestones that are completed. Like for example, if you are moving or climbing the ladders or the progression levels and you reach level 5, you could have maybe coastal champion badge, as you can see here. So that's a major milestone. Then you could also have badges, to show consistency. For example, people are logging data every day. They did not miss a particular day. They are always logging consistently. So you could have streak badges for that. Maybe week streak, for example, if they log consistently for 7 days, they could hand that week streak badge. Then you also have maybe badges for quality, data quality, accuracy, and so on. You could also have badges for special events and also for collaborative acts. Maybe people coming together, to do something major, maybe along the coast or shoreline. You could maybe reward such collaborative acts with special badges. Then you could also have surprise badges. Maybe, for example, you could just pick top contributors, maybe randomly just kind of give them special badge like that. So depending on what you are trying to reward or motivate, you could maybe just draw contributors, top contributors in diverse areas, and then give them special badge or prizes. So the next one is challenges. So let's talk about challenges a little bit. So challenges is, we are not talking about rivalry here. We are talking about friendly challenges. So this can be short-term goals or tasks that rally participants. So they kind of compete in a friendly way to kind of meet some goals or targets. Like, for example, it could be log 100 observations in the month of August or September, right? And then, everyone just work hard to meet up with that particular challenge. And then it could also be a weekend challenge. Maybe one weekend just throw a challenge so that everyone goes to the coastline or shoreline or the beach and do some stuff. So, and then they are rewarded. So then you also have quests. So quests are somehow longer than challenges. So, and they are kind of missions that are completed over a long time. So for example, it could be a cleanup quest, maybe to kind of, clean up the beaches, and you can now reward people maybe based on the type of litters that they're able to remove from the beaches, and then you give them maybe badges for that. Yeah, and then you could also have others, maybe that relates to probably checklist of observations that were completed, maybe finding shells on the beach, seaweed, birds, and other things that want to reward. Yeah, so of course, these quests and challenges, they kind of had a variety of routine tasks. Yeah, so you have a lot of things that you do and you get rewarded. And of course, this brings excitement, which are even beyond those routine tasks that are performed. So let's talk about progression levels. So here we rank people based on how much is done or learned. So a participant or a citizen scientist can start at level 1 and then progress to maybe level 4, which is the expert level. You could have other levels. You could even have a mentor level. Maybe they get to a level and then they become mentors, for example. Of course, this is based on how much they contribute as time goes on. Then you kind of move them from one level to another level. And of course, this gives people a sense that there is something they are striving for, and it's a mark of prestige. So newcomers, for example, know that, wow, there's a path to expertise for me in this. Wow, I will have a lot to learn, and so on. So that could really be motivating for them. And of course, levels are psychologically rewarding because people know that, yeah, there's a reward for all my effort as a kind of a promotion and progressing to higher levels. So here we have self-monitoring and feedback. So feedback is very, very important. We all love feedbacks. If I do something and let's say I am expecting a feedback and I never got the feedback, I won't be happy with it. So instant feedback is a strong motivator. So as people are doing stuff on the beaches or coastline, like they want to be able to see what they are doing. Like, am I progressing? Are there things that are left for me to do? How much things have I done? What is my contribution with respect to the overall, target and so on? So this is important so that people know that, yes, I am working towards a goal and this is my contribution level right now. This is how far or close I am to my goal. So providing such feedback is very important. And then giving them some kind of notifications. So let's say if they reach a major milestone, you notify them. So that kind of feedback is important. Like you can see here in this app, it says, congrats, you just delivered your 50th bed. You earned the bed watcher badge, So the other one is the impact visualization. So can I track my contributions? Very important. And also, can I see the overall impact of my contributions? So that is something that people will also like to see and will definitely drive motivation and engagement. Then we have social interaction. So we are, like I said earlier, we are social beings. So we want to be able to work together to achieve a common cause. So gamification, of course, provide collaborative mechanics. Like, for example, team play, you can form groups based on your location, for example, or based on the task you want to perform. And then you can work together to achieve those tasks. And of course, this fosters community spirit. So people want to feel part of something bigger. And of course, the fact that you are interacting will definitely even boost the amount of contribution that you make overall. And also being able to comment or like other people's contribution, that's providing peer feedback and encouragement, is also a strong motivator. So allowing people to kind of form forums or chat groups for sharing their achievements or sharing ideas is very important. And then providing opportunity for mentorship as well is important. And guess what? You can provide special badge for mentors. So, as you're trying to help other citizen scientists, maybe the newcomers, to kind of contribute more, like bringing them up, grooming them, guiding them, as you do that, you earn badges for being such a great mentor. That will definitely motivate you to keep going, to keep encouraging people, to keep grooming newcomers, to make them to become, experts as they progress as well.
So you need to share again.
Okay,
no.
Let me reshare. All right, there we go. I think it's okay. I guess it's up now.
Yep.
Okay, so we also have friendly competition. Having inter-group challenges. That is also something that can be a strong motivator. So, but it's important to balance competition with collective goals. So there is something that we are all working towards collaboratively. So even though we are working together in teams, there is a clear goal, right? And we are going to achieve those goals together. So that is very important. So balance competition with collaboration.
Sorry, it stopped again.
Oh, okay.
This was short.
Yeah, sorry about that, but I still don't know what is happening. All right. Let's see if it comes up now. Oh, okay.
Yeah, is there?
Oh, awesome. All right. So now, if we are to design gamified experiences or weave gamification into our apps as citizen scientists, so what can we do? What are the key considerations? So the first thing is to align whatever we're doing with purpose. So identify the behaviors you want to encourage. Do you want to encourage more data entries or better quality data? Or you want to, encourage regular participation? Or you want to, motivate teamwork? Or what exactly do you want to encourage or motivate? So which behaviors? So that should be something that you define first. Then the next thing is to keep it simple and clear. So that means that if you are building an app, make sure that the user interface is simple and clear. So let the gamified elements be obvious and easy to use. So if people are confused about how to endpoint or what a challenge means, they will disengage. And that is not what we want. So keep the app's user interface simple, clear, make all the game elements obvious and easy to use. And how can you achieve that? Give tutorials or guide to explain the various game rules and also walk them through how the app works and also how they can play and what they will earn for every activity done. And so provide that tutorial or guide, like a tour of how the app works. So the next one, I already spoken about the third one. So let's move to the fourth one. So the balance. Striking a balance is very important. So we have new newcomers and we have those that are already there, so the experts. So how can we make everyone to have a sense of belonging, and also the fact that, yes, what I'm doing is recognized, no matter how small or big it is. So mix easy wins with other goals. So for newcomers, provide easy wins. For every little thing that they do, reward them, right? So as they master the art, you can now increase the difficulty, or like make the goals a little bit harder, so that they can now continue to, like, do extra work to meet up with those harder goals, and then things like that. But in the beginning, make sure that you make things easier for them to achieve. Reward easy wins. Like, just make sure that for every little thing that they do, reward them for that. That will motivate them to keep going. And then you can now increase the difficulty of those goals later on, and then until they reach the expert level. So balance collaboration with competition, very important. Like I've said, it is not about competing, rivalry. No, it's about friendly competition, but you do it collaboratively. So we are all working together to achieve a common cause, but we have different goals, targets, but we are all working together to achieve a common cause. And there is a reward, maybe for the teams that does better than the other with respect to the goals that have been set, but we are all working together, and that should be what drives everyone. So balance collaboration and competition. So avoid negative traps. Don't have punishing mechanics. Like, for example, if you don't achieve your goal, I'm going to reduce your point. Don't do that. So don't use punishing technique for people not achieving their goals, because that can demotivate them or make them disengage. So yes, you have not achieved your goal, keep on encouraging them. Use motivational messages to kind of motivate them, to kind of say, oh yeah, you're almost there, you can do this, and things like that. So, and every little effort that they make, try to reward them for it, right? So you are rather reinforcing positive behaviors and not punishing them for anything, because if you punish, they might disengage or be demotivated. So the sixth point here to consider is feedback and refinement. Of course, it's important to gather feedback. So the feedback that you get from the citizen scientists who are using the app will help you make it better. So monitor how people play and engage on the app, let them provide feedback, and then use those feedback to kind of refine the game mechanics, whether you want to refine the point systems or you want to refine the challenges to keep things fair and fun. Then finally, we are talking about data integrity, which is very important. So you want to make sure that you don't gather bad data, because eventually the purpose of all this is to gather high quality research grade data. So implement checks. So as people are submitting data on the platform or on the app, make sure that you have some verification mechanisms in place, or some kind of moderation, so that you can make sure that what you are storing is of high quality. And that is even why you could reward high quality, right, as part of your gamification strategy. So basically, if you bring in high quality data, you earn higher points, or you even earn some badges and so on and so forth. So basically, people want to strive to put in high quality data in the system, but still implement those checks so that you make sure that what you are getting in is high quality data. All right, so let's look at some case studies. So gamification is not new. People have been using it, in their apps in the real world. So I kind of try to see, in the context of citizen science, are there apps that had implemented gamification? So I was able to find some. I will talk about two of them in this webinar. So the first one is the Citizen Nature Challenge. powered by the highnaturalist.ca. So this challenge is a great example of gamification at a community scale. So you can imagine the entire Halifax regional municipality participating in a nature challenge to find plants, animals, fungi, and any other wild organisms and take their photos, right? And then they should do that, say, within 4 days. Okay. So, which means everyone in the city is kind of part of this challenge, so they can all work, together to achieve this task. So, and then imagine other cities in Canada doing the same thing. So that is the idea behind this Citizen Nature Challenge. So there's an app by the iNaturalist.ca. So where you can maybe just take those photos. And then once you take those photos, you can track the impact of your contributions. So you can see what you have contributed. Let's say you have already captured this California poppy plant, you can see it right there. So impact visualization is the gamification strategy that is being employed here. So by me seeing my contribution, it is motivating for me.
Let's stop again.
Okay. Let me reshare. Okay.
Okay.
Great. So seeing my impact will kind of motivate me. Wow, this is what I've collected so far, So then also seeing like your contribution at a more larger scale. Wow, 2,356 observations. And then the species. So this is motivating. And then also even being able to choose a species and then seeing how many observations have been made with respect to that specific species. So again, you feel that you are part of something bigger, so that is motivating. And then the fact that people can also make comments on your contribution, they can motivate you, they can say, like, oh wow, this is a shield lichens, or maybe trying to identify the animal or the plant I just uploaded, and they may be commending you for even finding the animal. So this is something that will definitely motivate you. Yeah. So on the web app, I was able to see that they even have leaderboards. So the mobile app definitely help to capture stuff, and then they can also track things and their contributions and so on and so forth. But the web app also provides some other data. Like for example, here you have the leaderboard ranking cities. For example, this is across Canada, right? So you can see how cities have performed. So the first city with 37,000 plus observation is the Metro Vancouver Regional District. This is this year's City Nature Challenge. So this is followed by Greater Victoria. So they were able to log over 23,000 observations. So then you have, I think,
Let's stop again.
Oh, okay. Sorry. Let's see. I think it should be coming up now. Okay, great. So if you look down, you will see Halifax Regional Municipality. So it's down there. You will see we were able to log 2,300 plus observations. So just imagine if more people join this challenge, perhaps we would maybe be up there. Yeah, but the fact that this leaderboard shows how cities, perform vis-a-vis this like, finding these wild organisms in their environment. This is motivating. So cities will kind of do better and say, okay, how can we, like kind of drive each other, kind of bring ourselves together to do better, to kind of go all out, find these wild organisms in our environment, take the photos and upload and so on and so forth. And then we hand rewards for this. We see ourselves up there on the leaderboard. So this is friendly competition and collaboration, a good balance of both. And then we also have visual progress and recognition. So people can see the stats. They can also even see, okay, for these observations, which one maybe is of research grade quality and so on. So this is basically, they can see the data quality, like see the quality of what people are submitting. So, and then you also have the species as well and some other, visual progress that can also help drive motivation. So then you also have recognition here. So you can see photos with most comments and files, that's, that people kind of like the most. So you kind of have those here. And then they also have other leaderboards too, like the most observation. Like, for example, you can see this person achieve the most observations with 1,960 observations by this person. So that person had a badge. So you can see the badge here. And then you also have other aspects, like, for example, each person can see their impact in terms of, okay, how many observations have I brought? And then you can also see on the map where those came from. And then you can also see how people are commenting on your contribution. You will see somebody saying amazing, right? So this is something that could be motivating. And then if you see this most observed species, for example, so if you click on that, you will see something like this, where you see the top observer of that species and then the top identifier of that species. So this is also a good recognition that can motivate people. So the second case study is the flora caching. So this particular app also makes use of gamification. And the idea is that, so there are specific plants or locations that have been preset by the game. So these are called flora caches. And it could be maybe a particular oak tree in a park or something else, right? But these are plants that are scattered everywhere, or trees and so on. And then you can make these flora caches that people have to go find. So they have to look for these flora caches, and then once they find them, they will earn some points or badges. And then people also can create their own flora cache too. Maybe you saw a particular, beautiful tree, maybe in a park, and you want to make that a flora cache. So just create that cache and let people go find it. And then they will earn points and badges for finding those, those flora caches. So basically, it's about helping people appreciate the beauty of nature around them. So finding some kind of special plants or trees around them. So here there is a tree that people are supposed to find. It is called Quaking Aspen, and that tree is worth 200 points. So if people find them, they will earn 200 points. So, and you can see this person here, Anne Bowser, who has been able to earn 21,000 plus points already. And then you can see the badges that she has earned. And then you can also see that there's a progression level here. So Anne is currently in level 3, you see? So all these are game or gamification mechanics or elements that will drive motivation. So Anne, we want to maybe climb to the next level, for example, maybe level 4, right? Or earn more badges, or even earn more points. So you also have here, so when you create a new cache, let's say you have your own cache to the app, you will earn some points for doing that. And then if you hand 4 more caches to make it 5 in total, you will also hand a badge. So that is motivating. So people will want to add more caches, and then they will hand more points, and of course, more badges. And then you also have social interaction also being implemented in this app. So people can form networks, and then they collaborate to find caches. So they earn group rewards, and so on. So that kind of drive collaboration and also competition in a way, but at least people kind of work together to achieve a common cause. And then you have the leaderboard here, where you rank people based on their points that have been accumulated by them. So let's talk about turning beach monitoring into a movement. So the context here is that there is a network for beach and coastal data collection. So like ESCOM, for example, we have citizen scientists there who go to beaches or coast and collect data. So, and the opportunity here is that we want to use gamification to boost volunteer recruitment or recruitment of citizen scientists, and also maybe foster consistent data logging, and also boost enthusiasm in the community. And the vision is actually to create beach guardians, for example, or you can call it something else, that will compete and collaborate to protect the shorelines or the coasts. So the first step, or step 1, is to identify goals and actions. So what does ESCOM as a network want to promote? So do you want to promote regular beach surveys? Or you want to, have broad coverage? You want to cover more beaches? You want to have more observers? Or want to maybe enhance our data quality? We want to make sure that the quality of the data that we collect is higher than before. And we also want maybe people to add photos or notes to whatever that they are capturing. It could also be, say, want to promote volunteer learning, maybe learning. You want people to progress based on how much they learn. So probably you want to have training opportunities for citizen scientists, and also some kind of retention. So based on what you want to promote, you will define key metrics. So if you want to promote regular beach surveys, then you have to decide how many surveys do I want to have every month, or will I prefer to have every month, right? And if you want to maybe increase the number of active volunteers or citizen scientists, then you will have to define, okay, like what is the number of active citizen scientists that I want? So also you can define percentage of data. So which means if your target is on, say, data quality, then you want to probably have some kind of metrics around that, percentage of data that is validated, and maybe how much of this maybe have photos or notes in them. Let's say you want to be able to increase this particular percentage, and so on and so forth. So define these key metrics. And then once you define these key metrics, okay, I think
it stopped. Yeah.
Yeah, okay, let me, 1 second. Okay, great. So once you define these key metrics, then the next thing is to come up with a gamification mechanics that you want to emphasize. So what you want to promote and the metrics that you have defined will inform the gamification mechanics you want to emphasize. So the next thing definitely is to choose gamification mechanics. Do you want to use points? Yes. Why? Because you want to say you want to increase number of surveys that you generate, or the number of observations that you generate. So more points for more surveys or observations. So basically that will increase the number of surveys and observations over time, because you have points attached to that.
Stop.
Then, okay. 1 second. Okay. So badges for milestones. You could have badges for maybe survey novice or shoreline steward, data quality star, depending on your goals and actions, what you want to promote. And then leaderboard as well. Maybe you can recognize top contributors, and you can even have all-time Hall of Fame, for example. So for those who are top contributors consistently, maybe for over a number of months, or you can just reward them, or even years, right? You can just put them in that all-time Hall of Fame leaderboard. So, and you could also have separate categories of leaderboards. Like, for example, you could have most observations, most beaches covered, and so on. Then you have team competition. So you could have challenges that you want people to compete on. And then, of course, make sure that they form teams, which means there is a collaboration there. And then you kind of now bring in the competition part. So basically, you are balancing collaboration, working together in teams, and then competing to achieve some kind of tasks, maybe on the shoreline. So maybe some kind of quarterly events and so on that you want them to participate in. So basically, there's a collective goal that everyone is working towards, and they're competing, working together in teams. So there are other rewards that you could introduce. They could be non-monetary, like, for example, certificates, feature in the newsletter. Then you could also have some kind of prize that you give for big annual events or challenges that people kind of participate in and maybe were able to complete. Then you could bring in monetary if you want. Maybe you want to have some coupons that people can convert into something. Maybe you can go to a store and redeem it for maybe a tool that will be used maybe on the coastline, or something that will transit back to the goal of the network, of ESCOM network. So you could have maybe some coupons that could help people maybe purchase some stuff that they can use even on the shoreline or on the beach, or even to enhance their data collection. So the final thing here is progression or levels. So basically, you allow people to progress from beginners or novice to experts or mentor. So this again depends on what you want to promote and your metrics. So how do we implement this? So the first thing is to define system rules. So how will the system function? Like, what are the rules of the game, basically? For you to earn a badge, what do you have to do? For you to be among the, say, top contributors, what are the things that you are looking at, right? So if you have maybe ties on the leaderboard, people with the same points, for example, how do you rank them? Because they have the same points, right? So how do you rank them? Who are you going to place above the other, right? Maybe you want to look at extra things, additional things that you want to use to rank them. Maybe number of badges collected. So since they both have the same points, but perhaps one has 2 badges hand already, the other one has maybe just 1 badge. So you could hand the other person higher because the person had 2 badges. Then the person with the single badge we follow that person. So having these rules in place are very important. And then the next thing is to develop prototype of the app or system that you want to build. So create wireframes that illustrates integration of gamification mechanics. So if you want to build a mobile or web app, just have that prototype in place, and make sure that you create that prototype together with the target audience, that is the citizen scientists themselves. So having that participatory design is very important. So, and then once that is in place, you can now implement a working app prototype. So basically, you have wireframes before, which are maybe low fidelity prototype. They are not working, but they're just kind of sketches. But now you go ahead and implement make it to work. So have that app runs on a mobile, like on a phone or on a smartphone, for example, and let people try it out. So test that working app prototype with a small volunteer or group. So like have them test things out, and then based on their feedback, you will refine. So basically go back to the drawing board. So kind of change stuff. Then you redeploy, let them test it out again before you move to the next stage. So, and what will the next stage be? Will now be to pilot. So have a pilot challenge. So whereby maybe you have a particular, challenge or event that people will do maybe for 2 weeks using that particular app, and then you will monitor how people are using it. You will kind of see, okay, is it working as expected? Are people earning points as they're supposed to earn points? Are they earning the badges that they are supposed to earn? And so on and so forth. So then ask the volunteers who used the app or participated in the pilot challenge to give feedback, right? So based on their feedback, you can use maybe conduct interviews or surveys to kind of gather this feedback from them. So you could ask whether they find it to be fun. Are there things that are confusing? Are there suggestions that they want to bring on board? Are there some game mechanics that they probably maybe they are suggesting that you should include that is not there before? So this will help you to kind of refine the app before you finally launch to the broader community. So step 5 is to keep the community engaged, post regular updates. So inform, like have these notifications that that make people to kind of maybe know how they are performing so far. Then you should also maybe highlight upcoming challenges. All this can be done in the game itself. I mean, in the gamified app itself. Then you could celebrate achievements, of course, recognitions. So volunteer spotlights. Maybe you can have top contributors, most improved volunteer, and so on and so forth. Then celebrate milestones. Very, very important. Then make sure that you add new content, introduce new challenges or badges. Don't make things stagnant. So you have to keep bringing in new challenges, new badges, so that it can continue to spur and sustain motivation over time. Then feedback loop is very important. Keep those feedback coming. So allow people to give their feedback, and then let those feedback help you to refine the app on and on and on and on, so that you can continue to sustain engagement over even a long term. So motivational messages are also very important. So remind everyone of how playful participation is like, because of course they are participating, they are engaging, they are enjoying the gamification mechanics that is in the app. So you want to make sure that you remind them how their playful participation is yielding real scientific and environmental benefits. So, and of course, create a narrative of how they are heroes, right, in the ongoing, game, basically to safeguard the coast. So all this can be done in the game. I mean, in the app itself, like create those narrative, and they just see, and then they get motivated even the more. So, in closing, I want to emphasize 3 things. So play, engage, and inspire. So this is what gamification brings. So it brings play, it boosts engagement, and it spurs inspiration. So it turns volunteering into a playful and persuasive journey instead of a routine, just a routine or a duty. So people will become like kind of embedded, kind of and like kind of they will probably have indirectly lost themselves in the whole playful experiences, and then keep on volunteering, contributing even the more. So yes, that is what gamification does. And of course, it makes science easy to access. So, and then it makes it fun to do and rewarding. Yeah, and with this, we can harness the power of citizens to achieve even more together as a community. So yes, gamification over a long term can sustain community engagement. So there is a quote here: when people enjoy the process, they participate more and stick around longer, which leads to better outcomes for the project and the community. Thank you for your attention.
Okay, perfect. Thank you very much, Olaf, for the presentation and for your persistence with our bug that is was today. Yeah, but we're just to keep us with the attention that nobody will be disattended. But great. I don't know if we have any question. Anyone have any question about gamification? Everything that Olaf say. Yeah, Caroline.
So I've seen some games that will send badges and stuff through Facebook too, like using different platforms to reach more people, like your friends group. So even if they're not part of the data collection group, it might get them inspired to join the data collection group.
Yeah, definitely. So one thing that can be done as part of the community interaction is to maybe allow people to even share their badges on social media. So they can share it maybe on Facebook, on Instagram, or from the app itself. So they can share, oh, wow, I just earned maybe data champion badge, and so on. So they just showcase that. And then, of course, seeing that someone who is not part of the data collection group could want to say, wow, I know what is happening in this your network. I would like to join. How can I join? How can I start earning these badges? Or how can I contribute so that I can, so yes, that can be done. So integrating the app with social media can, yes, make this happen. So bringing people who are not already in the network to want to come to the network based on what they are saying, what people are sharing on social media from the app itself.
Right. Any other comment or any other question? Okay, meanwhile, I have one comment or question that I'm not sure is that, as Caroline said, in Facebook nowadays we have this point system, not really badges yet, but points. I saw that also YouTube now, when it is a streaming, there are some points of experience, these kind of things. But I think it is not just with technology. But I just want to be sure. Maybe all of you can explain us a little better. If you are with Sobis, you receive scene points. I think is the name. And when you are with Lablaw, you receive PC points. And with Walmart, I don't remember. First, are there gamification strategies? And second, how they work? What is, because I'm quite sure that if we don't have monetary prices, it will be also engaging, or if we're just thinking about monetary rewards because they are a business. So I would like to know a little more about these non-citizen science or not academic gamification strategies.
Okay, yeah, that's a great question. So first and foremost, people will not earn those points unless they buy something, right? So if I take my SIM card to, maybe I have a SIM card from a Scotia bank, right? and I go to maybe Showbiz to buy something, right? So I will earn the points, right? And it will be added to my SIM, like to the total point that I have, tied to my SIM card. So if I don't buy anything from Showbiz, I won't earn any point, right? So the goal of gamification is to reward something. So you have to do something to get a reward. So in the context of citizen science, so let's say you collect data, right? You earn a reward for that. So it could be in form of points, right? So let's say we also want to reward the quality of what you collected. So, and we have a way of verifying that data. So if the quality check is maybe successful, maybe it's of high quality, they can earn additional points for that on top of the data that was collected, right? So you could have various ways of rewarding participation depending on what you want to promote as a network, which I already spoken about when I was talking.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, because I also wanted to make a point that gamification is not something that we are starting now, and we are already, I think most of our life nowadays is gamified in some way. I was thinking about Air Canada, and we have miles, but this miles is, I think, more than 15 years ago. And we were thinking about the classic example of gamification, that's Duolingo. This is, I think, one of the golden examples about gamification. But the truth is that we already are immersed in gamification. So is, I think, when you define the steps, I think one of the things that is more important is that we identify these goals and actions that you say is the first step. So now I would like just to ask, not all of them, and then I go to ask, because the idea to have this webinar that, okay, of course, this is for anyone of the world, so any can learn from our experience, but at the same time, this is because we want to implement that so we can continue be engaged and also to attract other people, because at the end, in the Eastern Shore, we are 102 communities, and we have a lot of codes, so we need to have everyone, connected here and be involved. I would like to know your opinion, that, Robert and Leon, what do you think about to implement gamification in the citizen science? How do you think that it could help us to be a better citizen scientist? Who want to start? How do you imagine that we can use it?
Oh, there we go.
Okay, Anne, great.
Hi, yeah, sure. I'm not sure how we'd use gamification, but I think it would be great if we had some type of an incentive. It's kind of like building a tribe and working. It's like raising children. Everybody kind of participates, and you reward with different, different behaviors, different ways. I think it's a great idea. It's going to take some legwork. I don't really know how we would implement that, but maybe, I don't know, maybe for us at the parish of Port Dufferin, maybe there is some way to engage each parish into taking on more of the responsibility or trying to create a challenge. Whether or not they'd engage, I don't know, but I think it would be great fun trying to see if they would and just where that goes. So I think something like that, and maybe that would spill out to other parishes, maybe the parish in Liscombe, the Port Hilfert, some of those that may kind of get the ball rolling. I think it's great for children. I think I could see the schools definitely being part of this, and really the reward for children, because they love that quick kind of, look at me, I got this badge and that badge, so they need that gratification. I just, it's because there's so much great energy there when I think of kids, and Like at the age of 4, if you asked anybody to put their hand up, who's the fastest runner, everybody puts their hand up. But by age 6, people aren't as willing to put their hand up to say, I'm the fastest runner. So, like it's that ability's there, or that intriguement's there, but how do we kind of promote that? And I think that's, I don't know. I kind of see that. I don't know, Lorraine, if you have anything you want to add to that.
Yeah, no, that I think this is great, Anna. You just gave me a lot of ideas now that I just say between the parish. In your case, that you are with the parish, and Lorraine is here, so I can imagine, that Lorraine versus Anne try to have the most of this observation. This is quite nice, but at the same time, I'm imagining, that, for example, Caroline, that is not part of the Anglican Church, it's another different, as you say, tribe, but maybe Caroline is thinking about, we were last weekend in the artistic weather. So maybe Karen said, no, but maybe I would like to have a badge, that we can create with artistic weather. So the people that is recording more data in different, have a badge. So I think that my question was more than how. I think the right question is, what would you like to have? We're going to have a workshop at the end of October, beginning of November. We need just to set the date. This is something that we will define later. But what would you like to have, What kind of badges or system of points? Lorraine. You're mute, Lorraine. Not yet. No, I don't know why we cannot hear you, because you are unmute, but we cannot hear you. No, sorry. No, I think it's something with your mic. No. Oh.
She's probably agreeing to the challenge.
Yeah. Now, maybe you can write it in the chat. We can read it. This could be another
thing,
plan B.
Camilo.
Yeah.
Hello, if you had some type, I just can't help but think of the day that we did that we had the meteorologist come in and we did the rain gauges. The tremendous response that you had at that workshop was amazing. The energy, and if we even could capture some of that again, and maybe get people doing more rain gauge, and then exploring out into what else can they monitor. What else are you looking to collect data for that will spill out into beaches? Or it's kind of like Oladapo said, like maybe it's species of trees, or maybe it's, so that could be a challenge for like a winter month, or you could do different challenges different times, and the school kids might be really interested in getting involved in that, and you may have to have a pizza party for them every so many months, but it would just be easy things like that.
I think they're the kind of thing that we can do it. But the thing is, you mentioned several times the kids, and I think it's important. We want to start working with the school. We started since April. I was in the different schools. Of course, engage the kids. It depends a lot on their parents also to be engaged. Just to give an example, during summer, I wanted to include some of the kids here from council in the monitoring because they were on vacation, but I cannot contact direct the kids. I need to go through the parents, and most of the parents, I don't say they didn't give the permission, just they didn't respond. So I don't know what was the situation. So I think this is important to the kids, but also will be nice to think also about us, how we will be like, because the idea is that it will be more fun for us, for all of us. So it means, what would you like, to do or to have? So, because we're going to start working very soon with Olaf and Abirami and other people from the university to create this gamification. But the idea is that it will be something that will be interesting for us. So what other thing would you like to include, Caroline?
I like the idea of the bio blitzes. Like you pick a beach, a bunch of people go out with iNaturalist, and it's fun. You just take a picture of the plants and identify it. And that also has like a badge system where you can be research grade. So if you fill all the parameters, you get a higher ranking. So the only problem is the internet connections, your data collection. You know, that's the only problem is your service.
Yeah. No, but that is a great idea, and one of the things that we are working on, and we expect to continue working in the next 2 courses with a student from the computer science, is that we create some, I don't say some apps, because I don't want that we have 10 apps in our phones, but an app that will help to work offline with all the data collection, because this is one of our reality here on the Eastern Shore. We don't have many internet connection, and it will change in the next 3 months. So it's better if we start thinking about to have offline tools. But duly note, that about the BioBlitz and this kind of challenges and quests, as Ola explained to us. I don't know, Lorraine, if now your mic is working. No, unfortunately not. Okay, but you can write it in the chat. There is the chat. It's like the text bubble, so you can write there. Okay. Meanwhile, the idea with the webinar is that this is just the first activity that we're going to have during 1 year, 1 full whole year. We will be working on that. So these 5 steps that Olaf described, we will be working on that. And the idea with the webinar is that you keep thinking about it. We're going to have our steering committee meeting in September. We didn't have our meeting in August. We were in summer trying to enjoy the sun, maybe too much sun that we were expecting. But the idea is that on September, we're going to have our steering committee. And one of the things that we want to discuss is how we're going to start working on this gamification part. And I'm really grateful with Robert, Caroline, Leon, Marie, and Lorraine, and Bob, that is behind the Sea Breeze campground. But I'm very happy when Bob is connected, because to have campgrounds in our network, it makes us really, really stronger. So I'm really happy that you are here. Lorraine said that I was hoping for more explicit challenges. So do you say, Lorraine, that would you like to have some examples, or that you would like that we start creating challenges? Yeah, because this is part of the plan. That please think about what challenges, what kind of budgets, or what would you like? I have a few great challenges. Perfect, Lorraine. Thank you. This will be great. That please think about what would you like, because I have a full Canva with different, all of know very well, because we have a previous meeting, just as the organizing everything for this gamification implementation. And I have a full Canva of ideas, to be from the beginner to a master explorer, or to be I'm thinking on Anne, and I was thinking on you when I was thinking, Anne will be one of the first batch of communications, because Anne is amazing communicating. It's always sharing the posts, trying to engage new people. The idea is that Anne should have a badge for that, it should be rewarded, and recognized, because this is so important. It's not just collecting data, but also to go every day to the Coco Rush. This is also important. Not everyone is collecting the Coco Rush. It's just 2 minutes per day, but it's every day. So this is not easy task. So this is the kind of challenges or budgets, or please think about it. So when we ask you again, you have some ideas. And I was mentioning all of you, yes, because now you were here during the webinar, so you are great candidates as our how you say, all of our testing group, So the idea is to have fun, to say, okay, this is nice, I would like to do that. So think about you want to be part of the volunteer, because we will need some testing. We will need, I don't know, Ola, just to finish this testing, how it will work, how it used to be, how much time, commitment, or what are the advantages and their disadvantages?
Yeah, so the essence of the testing is to gather some kind of initial, shall I say, feedback. So this thing has been built. We have already implemented the gamification mechanics. So everything looks good, but we can't say it meets the user's needs until we hear from those that will be engaging with this, gamification mechanics, right? So based on their feedback, we will know whether we need to tweak anything or whether it's good to go, and so on. So the time commitment will depend on maybe, I think if we say maybe a week of testing or 2 weeks of testing, perhaps that could be something that I think should be sufficient. Yeah, and I also see it as a two-stage thing. Like, for example, the first stage could be before we actually implement the working prototype. So at the design sketching stage, we show it to the volunteer to say, okay, this is what we are going to implement. This is how it is going to look. What do you think about it? Are we missing anything? Should we add anything? Should we redesign this in a way that will resonate better with the citizen scientists or the end users? So based on their feedback, we will be able to refine things first at the design level or the design stage before we eventually implement. That is why the concept of participatory design or co-designing with the volunteers themselves will save us a lot of time down the line. So incorporating their feedback early enough will help us down the line. So once we get their feedback at the design stage and we have built that in, maybe refine the design based on their feedback, then we go ahead and implement a working prototype, right? So which is now the real app or the real system. So we get those same volunteers or different volunteer groups to use for a period of time, get the feedback again, because design is different from implementation. I mean, the actual app, right? So the experience will probably, raise some other or bring about some other suggestions or some other ideas or some kind of experiences that we have to look into before we release it to the broader community. So yes, I think that two-stage approach is important. So at the design stage, we'll involve them, we'll involve the volunteers, those that will actually use the system, maybe a sample of them, some of them. Then in the second stage, when the app has been built, we also test with volunteers and then incorporate it. So once we are good on those two stages, we can say yes, we can maybe conduct the pilot challenge that I mentioned, where we involve everyone to maybe to use participate in the pilot challenge, for maybe 2 or 3 weeks or even a month. And then once the experiences are great, we go to full launch. So, I mean,
yeah,
that should probably be.
No, that's great. And we were with telepathy with Robert, because we were thinking together that if I'm participating as a tester, maybe we could have just one time badge that, the architects, I was just thinking about the badge, the architects will be a badge only for those that were part of the creation, the architecture of this gamification. And the good thing is that because this is just one time in life, will be it won't be an opportunity later to have this badge. Will be also only for the people that we are already part of ESCOM. So it will create, it's like NFT. I don't want to enter here about cryptocurrencies, but that NFT, they are very, very expensive when they are unique. It's like collectors, So you have a bill, from the 19th century. This bill costs a lot more than $1. It costs a lot more because it's something that is not possible to obtain again. So just think about maybe all of, as we say with a founder badge, exactly, Robert. But maybe we can think about to have these kinds of the idea. And as Karen share also, any kind of ideas, the idea that from now on we start having and just brainstorming. We are, I think, in the state of the brainstorming. So this is scavenger hunt game on the beach. This is one of the ideas that we will like to have more. And I'm sure that in the future, Karin, for example, I'm totally sure that she will obtain the badge of innovator because she's great with ideas, and with a communicator, or Leon with the persistence. Just because I know you, I know that you will obtain this kind of badges. But think about your badge, but because it also inspire others. So I will end in the same place that I started. Leon is an inspiration for me because Leon have been doing 40 years. So why not we have the opportunity that more people follow Leon's path? But now we have a badge that every year you have a new badge, and Leon will be the only one that will start with a 41 years badge. That I think is not bad at all. So perfect. Thank you very much for staying here. Thank you for this more than an hour, almost an hour and a half of a webinar and conversation. Is great. And see you next month in the next webinar. And keep in contact. See you in our next activity. Bye-bye.
Thank you, everyone. Bye.